is up, dudes and dudettes? This is Diligence here, and this is going to be a super quick video to talk about sort of like the preview for tomorrow's press conference that George's going to do, right? And for those of you who are waiting for a quick catalyst tomorrow morning, I don't think it's going to happen per se, but let's see how many buyers are coming in or new buyers are coming in. And because a lot of shares are already converted tomorrow morning, so then we will see like if people sell off or not. Usually some people might panic sell, but again, we're not financial advisors. We do not give financial advices. But what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna keep holding, right? All right, let's get into the preview part, okay? So if you were George, right, what are you gonna talk about? So just like every other earnings call or press conferences, George's going to come out and be like, hey guys, we're so happy that we merged with TRCH and we accomplished this and this and that. And now we have this much of outstanding share. And from now on, we're going to be just debt free and everything. In the next few months, we're going to increase, our operation, and maybe we're going to put more money into R&D and put some money into marketing and consulting. And we just hired a new IR firm. Like all those things we already know he's probably going to talk about, right? And then afterwards, he's going to be like, okay, let me introduce you to Kenneth, our MBA, our CFO, who's been in this industry for a long while. And then we'll have the CFO come out and talk about, what are their financial situation, basically repeat what George's going to talk about. Or if George doesn't talk about the financial statement, the CFO is going to talk about it. Like, for example, how many outstanding shares, their existing revenue. This company is actually making revenue right now, but the revenue isn't that great. And they might be talking about their existing contract with Airbus with the cool glasses that reflects laser, right? We can make a video detailed about like a lot of what are in their patent portfolio, like what are some really high-tech stuff, like including the stuff that you're going to install on antennas for 5G, but that's for other videos for another time, right? Because all of you are like, Jesus, go to the content. Here's the content, right? And then afterwards, the CFO is going to talk about their projection for the revenue, or, by the end of this year, what their production values are, and if they have a go-to market for a specific segment of their product. They're going to talk about that product. And maybe, the CFO is done with all the projections. George is going to come back in and talk about they're going to be in Police Expo to promote their glasses. And they might be talking about like their previous contract with Lockheed, right? About their solar panels and all this kind of stuff. And maybe, talking about like maybe a potential collaboration with Elon, but I don't think they're going to announce that tomorrow. I think it's still a huge rumor. I've been doing some due diligence on Tesla's website and trying to figure out, Reddit, a lot of people are saying, they literally work at the same place. But the problem is, if they actually work in the same place and they don't really want to tell you about these things, they're probably not going to talk about it in a press conference, because they might sign some NDAs before, Elon come out and be like, yo, Meta Materials, we're working on this thing. But guys, if tomorrow they announce something that something along the line of, we're working, they're just like a sneaky peek, like, oh, we're working on some, car reflection materials with Tesla. And guess what? If that got confirmed, this stock's going to the moon, okay? And then if Elon just send out a tweet and be like, #George, everything's going so well. I'm looking forward to, a joint venture, or I'm looking forward to using your product on Tesla or something like that. This shit is going to go to the moon, okay? But anyways, after that, George's going to be like, yo, like let John talk about your dividend issues. And John's going to talk about dividend. And he's going to probably come out and talking about, we already sold the Winkler project. Everything I've already covered from my previous video. And they're just going to talk about the option that they gave a third party to purchase their Hazel project. And they're probably going to talk about like the outlook for the Ariana Grande project. That's our nickname for it, right? But the Oregonde project, right? And for those of you who are just gonna, keep bugging me about, keep talking about, oh my God, I have so much oil reserve. But in reality, in the oil industry, oil reserves literally doesn't really matter at this point, because what they really care about is how long they need to spend, or how much money they need to spend until this oil field is operational, because they're trying to capitalize on the short-term oil gain. Because eventually, my prediction is oil is probably going to go up to $80, and depending on the OPEC news and everything, maybe go to 120, but I'm not really sure yet. Right now, it's still foggy. But the thing is, when you have a sort of like a huge VIX spike in the oil industry or in the oil price, it doesn't tend to stay for a long time. The longest they ever stayed is for 2 to 3 months, and afterwards you have a drastic correction. And then for the big boys out there, including Pioneer, PXD, right, and even Diamond Fan, those guys really want to capitalize in the short term. That's why all of your $2 billion valuation for the Oregon Day project, especially in the short term, is not viable, but we're not going to talk about that. And John's probably not going to talk about the actual evaluation of this project. He's going to come on and talk about, our dividend outlook's going to be really great, and our chairman, Greg, has so much experience in, all of these oil projects, and we're waiting to be acquired in terms of that land, and maybe we plan to do a spin-off, but hey, we're not sure yet, right? But for all of us who are metamaterial holders, we don't really want them, at least in a short-term period of time, we don't really want them to do a spin-off, because if they start doing a spin-off, that means our investment is going to be in there at least for another 3 to 6 months. I mean, for some of you who already believe that you're going to be in there for at least 3 to 6 months, okay. But for those of you who are watching my video who are short-term holders, a spin-off wouldn't be a good news for you guys, okay. But in the long run, it might, in maybe 2 or 3 years. But 2 to 3 years is too long of a time. Even for me, I plan to hold metamaterial for long. But what I plan to do is I sort of have a price projection for when the new shorts is going to come in, and I'm probably going to sell majority of my position and sort of reap the project profit at that point. But then I'm going to reinvest my profit into Meta, and I'm going to long-term hold it until it reaches my second or third long-term projection later on, like in a few years or something like that. But anyways, this is a quick preview for the press conference. I don't really think they're going to announce anything explosive, and this press conference is going to be, our first meeting with George, right? Because George doesn't really do a lot of public appearances. And from George's response and George's charm, or just how George presents himself, we, like the number 2 or number 1, like me and number 2 on this channel, can better make that Dear George video, because we don't want to intimidate him. We don't want to appear as a smartass or appear to be too arrogant. As one of my subscribers pointed out, that sometimes I can be somewhat condescending and somewhat just trying to be a smartass, right? So depending on George's sort of respond in the press conference, we can adjust our style, and we will make that video by the end of this week, hopefully, and we will send it out with our Twitter account. And by the time we send it out, we probably already have our Twitter account set up, and you guys should go all follow it. And we're probably gonna post on Cloud in the Twitter sphere, and then by just spreading that video, hopefully it will reach George, and I think it's gonna be beneficial for shareholders and for this company and for George in the long run, and also in the short run. But anyways, this is it, and I will see you guys on the upside. And please smash that like button, and if you haven't sub, because this community is gonna grow large, and we're gonna be in the future, 5 years from now, you guys are gonna be super proud because you're with us from the beginning, and there's gonna be a lot of perks for you guys who are with us from the beginning. Okay, so sub and like. See you guys on the upside.